Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. R. Hello, 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 hello. Greetings, welcome. All that stuffs. How the devil art thou? Yeah, it's another week already. Howdy, 40 FPS. This is indeed game time. Well, I'm not sure entirely what kind of game. Can't remember the last time I played a computer game. many, many years ago, probably. Certainly anything more than what I wouldn't consider gaming. Something, a quick spin on a sort of mobile something or other, but that's about it. So, yes, another Sunday, another random dab sesh. Howdy, Sammy. And yes, we're on another lady this week, as it were. The wall is gradually filling up. So yes, I've finished the Williams Monday, and then Monday evening I started on another diamond painting of Christina Hendricks, and I finished that yesterday. Yeah. So here we are today with a Felicia Clover, hence Hi Felicia as the title. Most of these ladies don't Google their names unless you are above a certain age. Yeah. Oh, Sam's at the doggy parky. He's having a DP. He's DPing. I'll be DPing. DP meaning dog park and diamond paint. And drink. Yeah, I can't think of anything that begins with P to describe what I'm drinking. Not that I can say this early in a YouTube video, anyway. So yes, it's been a week, a very calm and peaceful week. Weather's been fairly meh, but it is the UK in January, so you expect the weather to be meh. Thankfully, my part of the country missed out on the storm. We just had a bit of wind and rain. We missed out on the gales, the flooding, and the heavy snow, thankfully. Well, it was still windy and wet enough going to and from work. Oh, you going DPing with your dad, are you? Ooh. Hi, Sam's dad. So what else? What else have I been up to? Really not been up to much this week. It's kind of nice. Gradually been working my way through the 24 hours of Daytona. And yes, I did. I say watch, I didn't watch, I listened while I was on my tablet doing other things. The 6.5 hour yellow flag period, which was, yes, 6.5 hours of everyone's going around behind the safety car. And the question was asked, why not just red flag it and stop the race? And the answer was given, it's an endurance race. So yeah, it's the cars and the drivers have to endure the 24 hours. I've been rocking about 5 every morning, rocking about like that. almost every morning. Oh, 5 miles every morning. Jesus, dude. That's, yeah, walking 5 miles a day will give you thunder thighs, quads of steel, and really sore feet. Also wears out your shoes really quickly as well. Been there, done that. Another reason I like cycling is a lot easier on the shoes and the joints. There's no shock loading going through anything. Yeah, exactly. Your feet are killing you. I'm not surprised. My feet get bad enough, and that's just because I'm, well, I say walking about, mostly standing. It's not like a long distance walk. I might cover a couple of miles, maybe 3 miles in a shift on a bad day. But yeah, I'm on my feet for 6 hours at a time on concrete, so in steel toe caps or safety boots, safety shoes, safety trainers actually, because I can't stand wearing safety boots. They make it almost impossible to walk. That's down to the way I walk and the size of my feet more than anything. Just that much weight on the end of my legs feels very weird. It feels bad enough when I just put the safety trainers on. Oh, sorry, safety sneakers. Given that I'm more used to wearing Skechers or Nike Airs or something like that, something light and easily flexible, and have been for donkey's years. Yeah, it's many, many years since I wore boots. And even then, they were only done up the same height as you do up a pair of sneakers. Yeah, enough talk about footwear. So I watched the race. I've still got like 5 hours of that left to watch. Listen to audiobook. Diamond painted, worked, water changed. It's pretty much been my week. Nothing hugely interesting or exciting. Although I did manage to help someone out with an aquarium problem through my comments section. He found out that the chain stores really don't know what they're talking about. But when it comes down to things like water cycles and what fish need what temperatures and water parameters, and yeah, let's clear out these. You notice I end up with a random patch on the bench of drills from a diamond painting. They're the ones that sneak into the bag. So these are all supposed to be red. They actually look like it, but every so often you'll find one that's a different colour in the bag. So I just stick them to one side and then clear them out at the end of the painting, if I remember. Or if there aren't many, they just build up for a bit. Let's see what we've been up to. Yeah, that's a point. I will be putting together a hors d'oeuvre for some diamond paintings, yeah, surprise, surprise, this week. So if there's anyone watching who's got any particular subjects they'd like to see me tackle, whether that be a landscape special to them, um, well, maybe not a celebrity, because I don't really do celebrities. Just as a general sort of a standpoint. So I'm just making sure I count so I get the right amount of rows done. It's the way I break down the diamond paintings so they don't get overwhelming. Take it in rows of 10 rows at a time. It also divides it up, especially on the squares. It means I know how many rows to do to get to the halfway vertically, then how many to do halfway horizontally, and yeah. So yeah, I get half halfway done working from the bottom up. Flip it 90 degrees and halfway up, and flip it 90 degrees and halfway, and then finish the last bit off. Which means it's sort of more of a grind at the start, but then it takes less and less time to do the rows until you get to the point where you're doing 2 rows in less time than it took you to do 1 row to start with. Yeah. Sammy will BRB. So yeah, if anyone watching has got any suggestions on things I'd like me to do a diamond painting of, just let me know, either in the chat or via a comment if you're watching on the replay. Just no cartoon characters, please. That's just not my thing. I think we can safely accept that boobs and death are generally my thing. Although nature as well. I've done a couple of like landscapes and fish and yeah, some, although mostly fairly kind of gothic-y type landscapes. Obviously, the supernatural and cryptids and monsters, and that's all good game as well as far as I'm concerned. Just be aware that if you suggest someone like Taylor Swift or Billie Eilish, I will be letting AI have fun and generate something. Although I get the feeling that Taylor Swift probably has people out there that would issue a cease and desist. In fact, me just mentioning it has probably got someone watching this, some bot or actual person watching the stream to make sure nothing untoward is said or suggested. What else? So I've really not got a lot to talk about this week. I know, weird for me. I can normally rattle and waffle on for a couple of hours quite easily, but I'd say it's been a peaceful week. I had my check-in review thing at work this week, and that all went well. Nothing that I've got to worry about or work on or improve, so that's always a good thing when the boss is happy with you. Yes, it was my last week of finishing at 8 as well, because we're now going to be closing at 7, so I'll be finishing an hour earlier. Does unfortunately mean I'll be starting an hour earlier as well, but the way I see it, it just means instead of spending an hour going, not really doing anything downstairs in the morning, I will probably be either doing that in the evening or I'll be up here hobbying. I think possibly after I finish Felicia, I might start on another paper model. Not one of the ridiculously complicated ones. I've got a relatively simple one of Notre Dame Cathedral. And yes, that's how it's pronounced. Notre Dame, not Notre Dame. And yes, I am aware that Notre Dame is a university in America. A centre for higher education, whatever you want to call it. Although, given what the American education system seems to be producing lately, I wouldn't call it higher education. Well, I say that, and I know for a fact that even over here, the exams have gotten easier to pass because, let's be fair, people aren't getting smarter. If anything, going the other way. But kids are leaving school with higher and higher grades in all their exams. Which doesn't bother me because I'm obviously of the age where if I go to apply for a job, because let's be honest, that's the only time your school grades are ever a thing. The only time they ever matter is when you go for a job interview. But I'm of the age now where they don't really matter. It's more the work experience and the knowledge of the work that I bring, or the transferable skills, rather than I got this grade in this subject. And yes, another month closer to 50. Ugh. Rapidly approaching that point where I'm going to be unemployable due to age. So it's a case of keep hold of the job you've got, because you might not be able to get another one. Although that's pretty much goes for everyone these days, I think. It's not that we've got high unemployment in the UK, it's just that, well, the jobs that are advertising, that have historically always been advertising, because people just generally don't stick it out for very long, or just know already that no, that's a really bad job. It's horrible hours, you're expected to work like a dog, and the pay's horrible. So yeah, you don't even bother applying for those unless you physically need to. Although I probably wouldn't get those anyway. I'd probably get the, sorry, we think you're overqualified for the role. Huh? What? You mean you actively don't want smart people working for you? Okay. Well, I don't want to work for a company that only wants to employ dumb people. Mikey! Sunday again, working day, working scheduling. Freelance for 3 companies. So they can keep busy without driving an hour per week. Yeah, I mean, if you can make it work, that's probably a good way to go. Because, you know, driving an hour to and from work every day is adding 2 hours to your work day. I know workplaces won't see it like that, but it is. It's 2 hours a day where you're stuck not doing things you want to be doing or would like to be doing, or spending time with family. I mean, I tend to think of commuting, as it were, not that I've ever commuted. The travel to work, as I see it, as unpaid overtime, because it's time you can't do anything else because you go into work, but you're not getting paid for it. So it's basically 2 hours wasted out of your day in my book, or in my case, quarter of an hour. But I can deal with a 7-minute commute. I don't think I'd want to go too much further. Especially this time of year, when it's windy and rainy and cold and horrible. 2026 is like a stack of plates in the bed of a truck. Hang on. Yep, you got all them plates up and spinning and trying to keep them there and figure out which ones you want to keep spinning and which ones you don't mind shattering. Although rather than shattering, just let them down gently off of their sticks. So if need be, you can go back to that plate again. It's like the people that leave a job, and it doesn't happen in the kind of jobs I've worked, or it's just not I've not had one. But exit interviews, they have their exit interview and they roll their sleeves up and they tell the HR person or whoever's doing the interview everything that they think is bad and wrong about the place, and how much this sucks and that sucks and so sucks and the pay sucks and blah blah blah. It's like, and congratulations, you'll never get a job there again. There's a lot of people switch jobs because they think the grass is going to be greener, and then they find out it isn't, and then they want to go back again to something they know they can do and blah blah blah, only to find out that they burnt that bridge. And then they take to social media crying about woe is me, I can't believe my actions had consequences. How is that fair? Yeah, get a life. Grow up. I'm sorry if I come across as a grumpy old curmudgeon, but I am. I'm both grumpy and old, so I've earned the right. Plus, case of been there, seen that, maybe done it, seen what happens, and filed it away under pieces of useful information to bear in mind. Or is that just me that does things like that? It was actually one of the things that was brought up in my review at work was my eagerness to learn new things and to grow and expand as a person. Grass is grass, green or otherwise. And to quote the Soundgarden song, grass is always greener where the dogs are shitting. Outshined, I believe, is the song. Also contains the excellent line or couplet, looking California, but I'm feeling Minnesota. As in, I look good on the outside, but on the inside, not so much. And that's nothing against Minnesota on my part. I've never been there. And from what I have seen, it looks quite a pretty place. Just, not wall to wall sunshine and bleached blonde bimbos, which isn't my kind of thing anyway. Not not a fan of hot and sunny, and not really a fan of bleached blonde bimbos either. Oh, that's a point. The grumpy owl as well. Generally happy at pattern recognition dips. Yeah, yeah. You're like, hang on, I know where this is going. I've been there and done that before, and I'm out. Yep, I know that one all too well. Yeah, you got to. This is called wisdom, I believe. Or to quote, I don't think it was meant as a deeply philosophical quote, but I'm too old for this shit. That's kind of a good one to live by once you clear 40. I'm too old for this. It's when you see the same people doing the same things time and again, and you're thinking, did you not learn the last time? Or did you think it would be different somehow? Yeah, there are certain things that you see or hear that do make you question whether some people should be allowed to be in public, whether they might need a full-time carer. I've worked with plenty of them. Can't give an example off the top of my head, but you're talking about something and you bring up a point that is just obvious, and you'd think anyone would know, and you just expect, oh yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, cool. And they just blank. Like either it doesn't compute in their head or it's just blown their mind wide open. Like when Karens get arrested for Karening and HOA people get done for HOAing. I still can't believe that's legal. It's basically a neighbourhood watch scheme that's just got well out of hand. Yeah. That'd probably be the. I know it is literally never going to happen because it is not possible. But if I became POTUS, which is, yeah, I'd be better than the current incumbent. I can't make fun of anyone for not learning from the same mistakes. The number of times I went around on the same body is comical. I'll figure out next. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it takes us a few attempts to go, oh, yeah. You've got to realise that the problem was you to start with. But yeah, I think one of the very first things I do as POTUS would be to just outlaw homeowners associations or anything like it. Because I mean, I'm sure there are good ones. You know, ones where it's a nice community, everyone gets on, the rules are sensible. Uh, Not a bunch of nosy bints who got some kind of Napoleon complex going on because they've got a little bit of power and I think that makes them super important. But yeah, most of what I hear about HOAs is just garbage. We literally don't have anything even remotely similar in the UK. So the closest we would have is a neighbourhood watch scheme, which is just, just looking out for anything suspicious or off that, could be like the strange white van with the creepy old dude offering children's candy, that kind of thing. Which would get then spread around to watch out for this or that or what have you. Oh, and there we go. First wrong colour. So we've got a kind of rotting flesh green drill. Not that you can see that because it's not going to focus. In with a kind of salmony pink colour. I'm not complaining like some do because I know how these things work. Mass produced, machines spitting out all sorts of different colours. There's not someone going through each bag making sure they're all perfect. So you're going to get the occasional one that got stuck in the machine and rattles loose, or you just take it out, put it to one side. As long as there's not hundreds of them, it's just a few. It's, what it take? 5 seconds to take that out of there. But according to some people, that's a really bad thing. Not many of them. Yes. Let's say. I just like the quiet life these days. Generally, if I haven't something exciting happening, I'm not too impressed. Because generally, if it's exciting, that means something's gone wrong or changing that you might not necessarily want to change. Because if it's something you want, then you'd plan for it and work up to it. So it wouldn't be too exciting. That's my theory anyway. I'm sticking with it. No, if I won the lottery, that's the kind of excitement I can take. But yeah, I tend to try to stay sort of on an even keel, as it were, because going up and down does no good to my mental health. As we found out last year when the whole thing kicked off at work. And, it ended up being nothing. I got completely exonerated. Nothing even on my file about it. But it hit me like a ton of the accusation hit me like a ton of bricks. Um, well, again, I earned brownie points out of the way I've handled myself through that as well. So there was an upside. Because I stood up and because I was proved to have not done anything wrong, um, the person that accused me then, I can't work with him anymore. I don't feel safe, blah, 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 ball. So they're now in a different store and we don't have to deal with them anymore. And you know what? Everyone is happier. Literally, like over the course of a day, you just like a weight had been lifted off the place. I'm all for that. What's next? There's quite a few sixes. But yeah, so while I've generally got my head in a pretty good place these days. I'm not up and down or constantly down. I'm kind of bouncing along, as I say, on a fairly even keel. Doesn't take a huge amount to upset that, so I try to avoid interesting and exciting things. I like predictable, linear, straight line. I like to know what I'm doing, where I stand, and I'm going to have to deal with. Although that person's replacement did start this week. First thing I was pleased about, she's about 3 times the age, so that's good. I've pretty much come to the conclusion that generally all young women just stay away from in the workplace. Just don't go near them. Be professional, but you know, chances are they're going to try and claim something or throw you under the bus at some point. So don't give them the opportunity. Yeah, so there's that. She seems a good laugh, takes a joke, swears, which is always a good thing because we did have one person start not long after I started. And they couldn't handle because we deal with tradesmen, builders, plumbers, electricians, gas fitters, heating engineers, that kind of people a lot. And let's be honest, they swear like sailors. Yeah, she couldn't deal with that, so she didn't last very long. She she was a so this young lady was getting upset and what have you that, and they weren't swearing at her. They were just general swearing in conversation that we all do, but maybe not on YouTube, but or in front of customers. In my case, I try not to swear. Um, I think everyone knows I'm fully capable of it when I want to. And I will generally turn the air bluer than most people will when the urge overtakes me. But yeah, she couldn't deal with tradesmen swearing when they were talking to each other. Something about toxic workplace, or I don't know. So yeah, she quit when it was basically. I think I think she wanted like things to be put into place to make sure that nobody would ever swear. It's like, no, they're tradies. You're not going to stop them swearing. It's like, hell, we swear enough. Actually, I was saying that actually the assistant manager managed to drop a C bomb in front of a customer the other day. Oh, that was funny. She said it. I was like, boss lady, language. She was absolutely mortified. I was trying not to wet myself. Yeah, it might only be me that finds these things funny, but it was. Um, mhm. Yeah. Well, soon to be pufflet time. Ooh. Da, 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 da. That's all of those. Yep. What else? What else can I waffle about? That's it. I may have misheard or not quite caught on to what was going on exactly, but didn't I see something about the Gestapo? Sorry, ICE. Um, actually, basically invading another country's consulate. Well, I haven't heard the story behind it, but you can see his pastime with the tosses. I see. Somewhere between the sacred silence and sleep, disorder, disorder, disorder. Yes, I know the song, of course. Anyone my age who doesn't know Toxicity by System of a Down? Yeah, probably not the kind of people you want to hang around with, because they probably remember all the words to all the Backdoor Boys songs. Sorry, Backstreet, not Backdoor. I suppose that could kind of be a fun game. Pop random lyrics in the chat and see if you can guess which song it is. I mean, there's basically, or used to be a quiz on Radio 2, Pop Master, that used to be kind of like that. And I was pretty good at it until it went like pre-1960s or well pre-70s, shall we say, post 2000. Then I was like, no, not a clue. And it could be some massive number one that everyone knows, and I'm like, man, never heard it. This is why would I listen to that? I'm a metalhead. I'm an old rocker. I'm not going to listen to simpy pap songs. I want to listen to songs with a bit of emotion in them, bit of reality. You I was listening to Black Gives Way to Blue by Alice in Chains earlier. You don't get much deeper a song than that. It may only have two verses and two choruses, but it says a lot more than most pop chart artists do in their entire career. Cut my food into pieces. This is my chopping board. Everybody's acting up. The rights are over now. Everything's quite official. The message is you don't have enough money and you're scared. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The message is basically you need to work more so you can. No, you need to work more jobs so you can support your family. And all this other stuff is really bad. Now, anyone who's on a slightly darker hint on the Dulux skin color chart, oh, they're bad people. Yeah. And for the algorithm bot that just picked that up, that was sarcasm. Uh, mind you, if Google can't train a bot to understand sarcasm, then I don't think any of the AIs that are out there are going to get it either. Well, I know they don't from my limited interactions with various AI bots. Yeah, they don't do sarcasm. They just do not pick it up or understand it. And not to get controversial here, not that it's ever stopped me in the past, and that's basically someone saying that is literally a flag post that they're going to say something or do something controversial. Right. Correct me if I'm wrong. The is it Second Amendment, the right to bear arms, which I still say was just a typo, and that the bear arms means you can wear a t-shirt or a vest, as we would call it. But isn't the whole reason for that being there so that you can form a militia against a tyrannical government? Um, I mean, I don't want to be the one that starts the civil war, but yeah, exactly. I'm not a racist, but I'm going to just say something really racist. Yeah, I'm not racist. I was just doing blackface as a tribute to Al Jolson. Mammy. Yeah. And this is the thing. I'm not an ist anything. I'm not sexist. I'm not racist. I'm not. I just hate everyone equally. So I guess that makes me a humanist. You know, doesn't matter what color, creed, flavor, race, gender, sexuality, whatever. I don't care. If you're a dick, you're a dick. It's that simple. I'm not going to give you special treatment because, oh, well, I'm not going to call it out because, no, I'm going to call it out. Go and see that. Yeah, government can't be bothered to verify citizenship or due process. Or rising up what happens is straight to jail. You probably get, I don't think you'd end up in jail. I think you'd probably just end up in a box. Eat Robinson's jam. I'm not racist. How do you righty? Yeah, exactly. I'm old enough to remember when we didn't have to call it golly to avoid the racist connotations of the character's name. If you're not familiar, there's a brand of jam, or what you'd call jelly in the UK, Robertson's, and famously their mascot, as it were, like Uncle Ben on the rice, which is probably a bad example because that's now apparently racist, um, was the golly with three extra letters on the end. I'm not even going to say it because I know it will set off the alarms in YouTube HQ. And yeah, it's been there for I don't know how many decades. Like as long as I can remember, Robertson's had the golly. It was the golly jam, right? But they had to take it off because people were getting upset. But there was a racially insensitive image. Now, the thing was, it wasn't the people who would have been affected by said racially questionable image that were getting upset about it. So it was pearl milling syrup. It was Aunt Jenna's, yeah. So it wasn't. It wasn't the people of colour that were getting upset about the Robertson's jam golly. It was middle-aged white people. Middle-aged, middle-class white people were getting upset about it. Like, what? Really? Okay. Yeah. And there is a lot of that these days. People being offended on other people's behalves. So I'm sure if they found it offensive, they'd say something. They are allowed to speak speak in public these days. Oh God, that sounded bad. And it just occurred to me that, hang on, let me double check. No, there is a Latina, so yeah, that's still technically white, I guess. I really should get around to doing some different ethnicities for diamond paintings, or someone will start complaining that. Well, they might do. I'm pretty sure I don't get enough people watching my videos to even care about it. So, yeah, good point, Righty. The people who come out, or they're just the types who are looking for something to be offended by. You know, yeah, or the other way, companies use the outrage of racist products to whitewash the labeling. Yeah, I mean, so we're not. I'm not overly familiar with Aunt Jenna's maple syrup because we don't tend to use maple syrup too much in the UK. But Uncle Ben's rice has been around for donkey's years. I remember it when I was a kid. And the way I saw it, Uncle Ben was a happy, smiling, healthy looking old man, like, uncle or granddad, right? Just because his skin was a different tone to mine, it didn't make it racist in my book or in my eyes. I was like, oh, well, maybe Uncle Ben owned the company, like Colonel Sanders and chicken. Um, I don't eat chicken anyway, so KFC I don't really care about. Yeah, it's just to me, as I say, it's no different having Colonel Sanders on the KFC or the guy with the guy on the Monopoly or guy on the Pringles tube. It's no different to any of that to me. It's just an image in marketing. Uh, Uncle Ben appeared to be happy, well dressed, successful. How that was degrading to people of colour or black people or whatever we're supposed to say these days, I could never keep up because I'm generally not woke enough. I personally believe there's a lot more to the tone and the way you say things than what you actually say that's important. But yeah, no, give me my happy, smiling, benevolent rice farmer back. And could we say that the man from Del Monte is that way as well? Could we say the Del Monte man is racist because he's Latino or Latino? Or or the Milky Bar Kid, because country gravy and fried chicken are two most important food groups here. Yeah, I mean they pretty much. Chicken is one of the, obviously it's the biggest selling meat in the UK. Um, I spent 7 years living on a chicken farm and then nearly 8 years working in a chicken factory. Um, the farm was producing 1.2 million chickens a quarter, or birds, and the factory was processing 100,000 birds daily. And that's just one factory in one part of the UK. Um, Back then, there were at least four more similarly sized factories local, not within 20 miles. So yeah, but yeah, I mean, I love an egg. Don't get me wrong there, but you know, when you spend that much time around chickens and you see what does actually go through, yeah, it kind of puts you off. So I try and avoid it most of the time. Closest I get these days would be like buying a ready-made like chicken and bacon and stuff in the sandwich. Cousin at the agriculture school for chicken doesn't eat. Yeah, exactly. Um, it's one of those things where best you just don't know what happens. It's like, yeah, you go on, you go on thinking that the chickens get fast and they're treated wonderfully like a pet and they're fully respected and everything's gentle and nice. No, no, they get caught. They go into a cage. They get to the factory. I get pulled out the cage, hung on the line, feet first, and then get zapped, and then they get their necks broken, their throats cut. Then they get all then they go through boiling water, get their feathers ripped off, and their innards ripped out. 2026. Grow it in a vat, bread it, and fry it. It'll show up. Yeah, it will do. Um, to be honest, I know lamb or eating sheep isn't really a big thing about. Yeah, that's why it needs the 11 herbs and spices, is to cover up how bad the actual chicken is underneath it. Yeah. In the way back when we first cloned sheep in the UK, Dolly the sheep, grown in a test tube, basically. And now I think there's probably quite a large proportion of the sheep around in the UK by now, or at least a decent chunk of them, are descendants of Dolly. So they've probably all got exactly the same DNA. I mean, not that you could tell if one sheep was dumber than the other, because as sheep farmers tend to say, most of their time is spent trying to stop the sheep from accidentally unaliving themselves or getting stuck somewhere. Because they will just randomly walk off the edge of a cliff or stick their head through a wire fence and get it stuck. And just stand there. It's like the vegans who complain about using wool. Have you seen what happens when you don't breed a sheep that has been, or don't shear a sheep that has been bred specifically to produce wool? Like the meat is the byproduct of the wool, not the wool is the byproduct of the meat these days. Well, unless it's Welsh salt marsh lamb. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Yeah, KFC. I say, chicken nuggets, all these kind of things. None of them are real meat. They're all basically a paste made from the bits that aren't going to be useful. But once you've stripped the wings, legs, breast, breast fillets, inner breast fillets off of a chicken, so you just got the carcass. That's exactly my job as a home health nurse: prevent the client from unaliving themselves. Yeah. Well, I'm sure in some cases you're thinking it might be for the best. Because we do have a habit of that, keeping people alive that don't want to be alive anymore. And I'm not saying because they're depressed or mentally unwell, and they've just got that point in life of that age where they've got nothing else to live for anymore, and all their friends have died, and their family don't visit them anymore, and they're just wasting away. It's like the German comic Henning Wayne, and yes, German comics do exist. Comedians, as he says to people who they go, "Oh yeah, I was alive, I was around in World War II, blah 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 blah, fighting against the Nazis." He goes, "How old are you?" And they tell him. Doesn't matter in his head. He says, "So you were a child during World War II?" And they go, "Yeah." So you were basically just a drain on resources. Essentially, you were working for the Germans. Yeah, when you boil it down like that, he's got a point. But yeah, it's yeah. So this is why. So last time I was unemployed and actually doing the whole job centre thing, looking for a job, they did suggest I go work. I work in care because there's always a lot of jobs in the caring sector, and there's a lot of care homes around here. And I was like, no, that's really not a good idea. What do you mean? I thought, so do you want another Harold Shipman on your hands? And if you're not familiar, you might be, given what you do, you might be familiar with Harold Shipman, the UK's most prolific serial killer. But yeah, not in a way like the most of the others, and it's not like he targeted old people. But basically, if he had patients and they were at that point in their life where they were just living with constant pain and didn't have any quality of life anymore, he'd give them a morphine overdose or the like, and they would just go to sleep in their armchair and never wake up. Which, yes, I know he's still murdering people, but when it comes to doing that, it's probably one of the nicest ways you can do it, I think. And he legitimately did see it as he was helping people, people who just had enough of it all. And then he he did an Epstein in his cell, so although he did it himself rather than got help, allegedly. That was, yeah, still awaiting trial. Again, he was like the local doctor. He was well respected in the community, and no one even suspected a thing. I think there was a couple of people that did kind of suspect something was going on, but they couldn't prove it and didn't want to, say anything and be wrong because that would destroy his and their careers. Yeah, we're not talking about Pedro Lopez here, who's probably one of the most twisted serial killers on the planet ever, who managed to escape from jail and disappear. So, literally one of those. I know there are a few more. Oh, I think it's the assisted self-unaliving, as I think is probably the best way to put it without getting flagged for things. It's one of those thorny subjects that keeps coming up every now and then. I think on a semi regular basis, it goes through the UK court or UK Parliament and government, and I think every time it basically gets closer to being, yeah, okay. It's, it's sad, don't get me wrong, but is it a downside of modern healthcare that we've increased lifespans longer than they should be? And Now people are starting to suffer because of their age, whereas in the past they would have passed on peacefully earlier. And then there's us as family members, friends, or whatever, possibly being selfish, not wanting them to go, wanting to keep them around longer. As I've always said, if I get to the point where I need someone to feed me, take me to the toilet, clean me up afterwards, yeah, if I get to that point, just put me down. If I'm not in there, put me down. You know, this is, to me, this thing I'm in is just a meat sack. This body is not me. It's the vessel that carries me, as it were. It's a fairly dark way to look at it, but I generally look at most things in a fairly dark manner. Yeah. So, washed and conditioned my hair, and now it's just getting all floofy and going everywhere. So I've got a baseball cap on, even though you can't see it, just to control the floof. Yeah, so that was a fairly dark subject matter. Don't get many live streams that get that dark. I never had the patient be the problem, management or family member every time. Oh yeah, for sure. No, you must do everything you can. You must do everything. Use every drug, chemical, procedure, whatever in the book. And some aren't. What do you mean the bill's this much? How dare you? Yeah, I can see how that would go. The family expecting miracles, the management expecting you to work on a smaller and smaller budget every year. Yeah, it doesn't work out. No, the most important person in this equation is the person you're looking after. Their wishes are the most important. No, that's a point. Yeah. My grandmother died. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to be more upset about it now. I've got no grandparents left, but yeah, that's shows the level of connection I had with it with my family. I've got that level of not upset. Got the message. I was like, oh, oh, carry on. I think I'm supposed to be upset, or as far as I'm aware, I didn't get a single penny, so why should I care? I know that sounds bad. Oh, you're only in it for the money. Well, yeah. What else are they going to do for me now? You know, hell, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get bugger all off my parents when they kick a bucket. As I say, they're both sort of 20 plus years older than me, so I think that means mum's probably 71, 72. Dad's probably 75, 76, I think. So with a bit of luck. Don't worry, I'm safe. I'm like 99.99999 recurring. Or recurring, sorry, not reoccurring. Percent sure that neither of my parents have ever even watched a single one of my YouTube videos or streams. They're probably not even aware that I have a channel. So, again, yes, I know I sound cold, but with my history, let's be honest, I was never going to be particularly concerned about the family because, you know, my parents were the black sheep of the family and then they kicked me out. So that means I'm the black sheep of the black sheep. And they didn't want to know me back then, so I'm not going to give them the opportunity to know me now. They made their bed, they got to lie in it. And it's not like I was some completely wild child either. You know, I didn't exactly get in a load more trouble than anyone else did, and didn't do anything utterly heinous. So it was, yeah, definitely one of those weren't my faults. So it's entirely on them. And I'm bringing things down again. Should try and find something a bit more upbeat to talk about, maybe. Oh, damn it. I'm at that point in the row where I'm starting to find where I've missed ones. Darkest sheep. It'd be delicious. Gamey, but in a good way. Gamey, I'd be rotten. Oh, God. I mean, you wouldn't have to put me in the smoker because I'm probably smoked already. What else? Yeah, so pre-smoked, pre-marinated in caffeine, plenty of fat on the bone, plenty of meat as well. So I'll be nice and moist. I'd probably catch some kind of nasty disease if you did try and eat me, but let's be honest, that's still pretty dark, but it's a step up from where we were. Oh, hello, darkness, my old friend. I'll come to talk with you again. And yes, I am officially old enough to remember the Simon and Garfunkel version before the Disturbed version, which is scary. I reckon that's it. I'm probably one of the oldest kind of YouTubers there are. Probably, or maybe not YouTubers, probably one of the oldest ones that actually live streams. With the possible exception of Fewer Fish, but we won't go there. It's just thought exercise. Well, in its own learning ways, doesn't get much better than this. Exactly. I know some of us who have darker senses of humour than others. Some of us who live in the black, as it were. And that's not a racist comment. Yeah, we find humour in things that other people are more shocked by. Joke about things that other people are, unable to make jokes about or unable to find said jokes funny. Yes. I can probably make a joke out of pretty much anything. I mean, it might be completely tasteless and highly offensive, but I just don't take everything too seriously, really. I find that's a good way to get through life. Don't take it serious. Avoiding the shadow is way worse than inviting it in for tea. Exactly. Yeah. If you keep running from the darkness, you get more and more scared by it. If you embrace the darkness, then it's suddenly not scary anymore. Like, circling back to the ghosts thing. When people are like, but why aren't you scared? I'm like, well, because nothing bad's going to happen. I'm not scared because they're just people, or cats, or dogs. Mostly people and cats that I tend to encounter. But the list of cats is getting longer and longer. And I'm basically just filling in all the ones I missed at the moment. And then that'll be this row done. And I think I might call it there. Because my stomach is making some very interesting noises that I hope you can't hear. You really don't want to hear these noises, let's be honest. They're noises that are telling me I am empty and starting to digest myself. Which for me is usually a good sign that I'm it's a sign that I'm likely to experience a bout of something nasty occurring. If I let my stomach digest itself for too long. So yeah, I'll finish this roll off. There's another two of them. And I think we'll call it there while I go grab something to munch. Plus I need a pee as well, so all's well. Yeah, so I'm going to call it there today. Thanks to everyone who popped in, had a chat, had a natter. We'll try and make it lighter next week. Have a good week. Stay safe. Get a bit closer. Have fun. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ah.